Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is OKEMUTE. If it's your first time here, hello, thank you for joining the family. So today's video is going to be about beginners. I'm going to be showing you guys some of the products that you need as a beginner or as someone that is new to makeup and you don't know where to start from, because with a whole lot of products out there lately, it's so hard to know which you need and which you do not need to start with as a beginner. And start with your skin first. You can start with your brows first. I've even seen some people that start with eyeshadow first. So everybody's take when it comes to makeup steps is different, but for me, I like to start with my skin first. So the first thing you're going to need, if you're like me and you like to do your skin first or you like to do your brows first, depends on you, but for me, I like to do my skin first. So if you're like me and you like to do your skin first, you want to start with a primer, and the primer you use depends on your skin type. There are mattifying primers and there are hydrating primers. For me, I have oily skin, so I tend to lean more towards mattifying primers. My favorite mattifying primers is this NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop primer, and this is what it looks like. For my dry skin ladies out there, I got you guys as well. This is a primer that you can use. This is the NYX Angel Veil primer. After priming your face, the next thing that you want to do is to apply your foundation. Foundation also depends on what you're going for. There's some foundations that are full coverage, there's some that are medium to full coverage, depends on how you build it up, and there are some that are not full coverage as well. So it just depends on what you're going for. And one that I'm going to recommend to you is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. And another one that I'll also recommend to you is the Loreal True Match Color Foundation as well. The next thing you're also going to need is your concealers to cover dark circles, to cover spots, to cover whatever it is, and to highlight your face, of course, if you want to do all of that. But most times for a beginner, you probably don't even know what highlight and contour is yet, or you've seen people do it and you want to try it, so you need a concealer to do that. And most of the time, I like to use either my Elegant concealer or my Maybelline Superstay Age Rewind concealer. So any of these two, I recommend them. They're good and they have nice and amazing coverage as well. After concealing, the next thing that you want to do is to set the areas that you applied the concealer so that it do not move, so that it stays intact and locked in. My favorite setting powders that I like to use is either this Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder or the Sacha Buttercup Setting Powder. Any of these two works perfectly for me. So most of the time you will not get Sacha Buttercup in your drugstore though. You probably have to order it off Amazon. Most of the time I do that. I order it off Amazon. But you can easily get this one in Target, in Walmart, anywhere. You can easily get this one. So any of the two is just fine. It works for me. You want to add more definition to your face. I know for a beginner this can be a little bit complicated, but if you want to add more definition to your face and just make your face look snatched and all of that nice stuff, you might want to go in with a bronzer. And some people use concealers or foundations to contour first and then set it with powder, but I personally like to use powder straight up because I really do not have time for all that long process of applying concealer and all of that to contour first. I just go straight in with my bronzers or with my contour palette, so any of the two. First one I'm going to recommend to you guys is this CoverGirl bronzer in the shade Ebony. I really like this one for my dark skinned girls. It does the job and it gets the job done. And another one that I'm also going to recommend to you is the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette, and this is what it looks like inside. Don't mind the fact that it's dirty. I use it all the time, so most of the time these are the two that I reach for, the highlighter and the contour in it. So yeah, this also comes in different shade ranges as well. It's not just this shade, it has light to medium and all of that, so you can check it out if you're interested as well. But for a beginner that doesn't really know much about makeup, you really do not need contour at this point. Just your foundation, your concealer, and your setting powder to set the concealer in place. You can skip the contour if you don't know how to do that yet. Not necessary if you do not know how to do it yet. So the next thing you're also going to need are your face powders. And for face powder, I personally like to use this Maybelline Fit Me for my clients, and I like to use this L'Oreal Infallible True Match on myself. So it just depends on what you want as well. Powders also depends on the coverage that you're looking for, and if you want to mattifying powder too. This L'Oreal is a mattifying powder and I love the coverage, and this Maybelline Fit Me too. The coverage is nice as well. So it just depends on what you want and what you're going for. And most of the time they always have like information about the powder written on the pack, so whatever you want, you will see them on the pack. When I'm done with my skin, I like to move on to do my brows, and I don't know, personally I've not found a brow pencil that I really like. I use brow gels and brow powders. But for a beginner, it's not that easy to control any of those two. You want to do brow pencils for now. That one is easier to control than gel or than powders for your brows. So I would advise that you look for a brow pencil and try it out. When you're done with your brows, you probably just want to add maybe something on your lid just to make your lids stand out. So you probably want to look out for an eyeshadow palette. And with a whole lot of eyeshadow palettes out there, you don't even know the one you want to get because there are a whole bunch. There's single eyeshadows, dual eyeshadows, eyeshadow palettes. But I really advise for a beginner to start with an eyeshadow palette. So I recommend getting an eyeshadow palette so that you have options to choose from and you're not just stuck with maybe just one color on your lid all the time. So I recommend getting eyeshadow palettes, and this one is from Juvia's Place. This one has just neutral and warm tones in them, and this is what this one looks like inside. So you can play around with colors anytime you feel like in this one and still keep them not too bright, not anything way out of your comfort zone. There's some eyeshadow palettes that also have like a mixture of bright colors and cool toned colors in them as well. And this one from Juvia's Place has that. This one has the greens, has blues, has gold, browns, oranges. So you can get this one and also play around with colors on the days that you feel like it. And yeah, most of these Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes though, you don't get them in the drugstore too. You probably have to order for them online, but the pigmentation of Juvia's Place palettes, I love them, so I always go back to getting them. And I have another one from Maybelline that right now I can't find, but I would probably have the name listed in the description box and you can check that out as well. Maybelline also have some mini eyeshadow palettes that also appear really nice and pigmented too. You're not just interested in eyeshadows and you just go straight to lining your eyes. There are gel liners, there are liquid liners, and there are pencils as well, but I personally would not recommend a liquid liner for a beginner because I don't know, liquid liners are just messy. You can't really control them if you are not used to using them yet. It can be very hard to control. Before you know it, you're drawing I, you're drawing V on your eyes. And so liquid liners for me is out of the equation when it comes to beginners. I'd rather say use a gel liner because a gel liner is easier to control than a liquid liner for beginners. And gel liners, you can use them to line your eyes and also your waterline, but you can never try that with a liquid liner unless you want to go blind. You can never use a liquid liner for your waterline. So I totally would recommend you trying out a gel liner because it's easier to control, less messy than a liquid liner. Or you could just use a pencil on your waterline and keep it moving, any of the two. When you're done with your eyeshadow and your liner, you're going to need a mascara for your lashes. And maybe you've been doing mascara for a while and you're ready to move to the next level. You're going to need a pair of lashes and you're going to need a lash glue to apply the lashes. But for a beginner, like someone that is just starting and knows nothing about makeup, lashes are very complicated to fix. But if you've been doing makeup for a while and you're ready to start applying lashes, then I'd say go for lashes. Any of the two works just fine, but for a beginner, someone that knows nothing about makeup, I'll ask you to just do mascara for now till you're comfortable and you know how to apply your mascara and how to apply your makeup. Then you can move to the next level of applying lashes. But for someone that doesn't really know much about makeup, I'd say do mascara and ditch the lashes, because it's better you just apply your mascara and gingerly go out than having to do lashes and look funny. But if you feel like you're ready to move to applying lashes and you want to know how to fix your lashes, I have a detailed video on fixing your false lashes and I'll have it linked maybe here or here, any of the two, so you can also check it out. So now you're done with your foundation, with your concealers, your setting powders, your eyeshadow and all of that good stuff, and you want to add a little bit of colors to your cheeks. You have the options of getting any of these two blushes. You have blushes that come in like a palette like this, and you have single blushes. These are two of my favorite blushes. This one, the palette is from ELF, and this one has 4 different shades in there, so you can use any one depending on your mood. You can use the pink, you can use the peach, you can use the brown, anyone that you like depending on your mood. But if you are not ready for all this extra because you don't even know which one to use, you can just get single blushes, and this one I can also recommend. This one is from Milani, and this is in the shade Dulce Pink, but this one comes in other colors as well, so it depends on what you want. There are pink blushes, there are peach blushes, there are brown blushes, just depend on what you want on your cheeks. If you're a newbie to makeup and you've always been wondering how people get that shine on their cheekbones, just like I have right here and here, and their nose as well, this is what they use, and we call this a highlighter. These ones are two of my favorites. This is the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter, and this one is from Milani as well. This one right here. Also from the Black Radiance contour palette that I showed you guys earlier, you already have your highlighter in there. So if you get this, you don't necessarily have to get any of these single ones because you already have this one in here. So you could just get this and ditch getting any of these two. So the last thing you're going to need are your lip stains, your lip glosses, your lipsticks, depending on your personal preference. Depending on my mood, I like to use lip stains, I like to use lipsticks, and most of the time I like to use lip glosses like I have on today. So it just depends on you, and obviously there are varieties of colors as well. There are nudes, there are pinks, there are red, just depends on you. Lip stains are the one that when you apply, they dry matte, they don't move, they don't budge. Anything you eat, they're still there as long as they're the good ones. And lipsticks are more moisturizing, they don't dry matte, your lips still feels hydrated when you have them on. And lip glosses, of course, we all know what lip glosses are, and yeah, any of the four just works depending on what you like and what you're leaning towards. If you want matte, or you want hydrating lipsticks, or you just want to have your lip gloss and call it a day, so any of them. Lipstick, the one I can recommend are this one's from Milani, and this one comes in different shades as well. You could get them in nudes, you could get the pinks, the red, and this is what it looks like. And I can also recommend some lip stains from Milani as well. This is the Amore Matte Lip Cream, and this one's dry down matte. I have this one in different shades. I have the pink, I have the red, and other colors as well. Another one that I can also recommend is this Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink, and this one also comes in different colors. It has the nudes, the pinks, the purples, depending on you and your personal preference. But these three, or these two actually, these two brands are the ones that I use most of the time from the drugstore because I like their formula. They apply nicely and they stay matte all day, and even the moisturizing one from Milani is pretty good as well. If you don't like lipsticks or lip stains, then you can go for lip glosses that has a little bit of tint in them, a little bit of colors in them, and some shimmers, and this one from Milani is really good. I also have this one from CoverGirl as well. Any of the two is just fine depending on your personal preference. And I know you're probably wondering, what am I supposed to use to apply all of this stuff that you've been talking about? I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. What am I supposed to use to apply my foundation? What am I supposed to use to apply my powder, my highlighter? I mean, getting brush sets, because most of the time brush sets comes with your powder brushes, your foundation brushes, eyeshadow brushes, highlighter brushes, and all of that stuff. So most of the time it's always better to get a brush set than to get them in singles, and even it's more expensive getting single brushes than getting them in a set. So I advise getting a set if you have access to them. I personally like to get my brush sets from AliExpress. I'll have links to some of the good brushes that I've gotten from AliExpress in the description box, so if you're interested, you'll find them there. Your foundation, some people like to use foundation brushes or a beauty sponge. I personally, depending on my mood, I like to use a foundation brush and then go over it with a beauty sponge, or I use a beauty sponge directly and ditch the foundation brushes, and it depends on my mood, like I said. So for foundation brushes, there are different type of foundation brushes. That one is even a whole topic on its own. There's different types. One of my foundation brushes that I like to use, excuse the fact that it's dirty, I just used it today, so here it is. And this is a beauty sponge also that I like to use that I like to use. I like to go in with my foundation brush first, because this I feel like gives me more coverage. Then I go over it just to smoothing any harsh lines or any creasing or anything with my beauty sponge. And always make sure that your beauty sponge is damp before using it. Never use a dry beauty sponge to blend out your foundation, to blend out your concealer, to blend out anything. So these three tools, for someone that doesn't know anything about makeup, that is just starting makeup, highly recommended. But for somebody that has been doing makeup for a while and knows a little bit about makeup, I would say get the whole set and your eyeshadow brushes, your highlighter brushes and all of that. I know this might still seem like a lot for some people, but to be honest, you don't really have to start with everything that I showed you guys. You can start small. You can start with just your foundation, your powders, and then work your way up as you go, as you know more and as you gain more experience. So just pick whatever it is that works for you out of all that I showed you guys. That brings us to the end of today's video. Please do not forget to like this video if you did enjoy. Drop comments, let me know if this was helpful, and also subscribe to my channel and all of that good stuff. See you guys in my next one. Bye.